Yes, we are talking about the point where the finance minister.
Yes, so me, I genuinely believe that at this point, the president believes that Kenneth Friata is the only person who can do the job, and there's nobody out there. That's why he isn't searching. That's why he isn't looking to fire him, and that's why Kenneth Friata too isn't resigning. So I genuinely believe that we shouldn't always look at it in the light of, yes, the person may be qualified, but then there may be other qualified people there. But because we believe that this person is the best fit for the job, we close our eyes at every other option and just focus on that one option. That is when nepotism comes to play. Nepotism doesn't. Yes, we also have the nepotism aspect of whether the person is qualified or not. But then also comes the part where the person may be qualified doesn't necessarily mean that the person is fit to be there or the person should be the only one who can occupy that position. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But this all comes down to familiarity. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Thank you very much on your thoughts for the negative sides of familiarity. I'll then move on to talk about the red flags or the symptoms of familiarity, reading about contempt. What are the signs we should spot out for if anyone is there in a relationship or in a mutual, cordial, any kind of relationship? Once you're on this, definitely we will socialize with people. What are the signs we should look out for during a relationship? Signs of familiarity breeding contempt.
Okay, so one thing we should look out for is when there are signs of anger or hate or jealousy or disrespect, like the littlest. Okay, there are some things that you should let go, but if it becomes habitual, if the disrespect becomes habitual or unprovoked, that's just showing you that it's leading to contempt. Or if the person is rude or disregards how you like, those things show. Sometimes, obviously, we just have to ignore it. So we have to look at the bigger picture. Maybe at that instance, the person was going through something. The person was genuinely angry with somebody else and brought it on you or something. But then when it's getting out of hand, so when the person is being more verbally abusive or physically abusive or just plain disrespect, or if the person is just doing things that are hurting you and the person doesn't see. What?
Mocking or teasing you.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That obviously there are some things that you can let it slide, yes. But then when it's becoming excessive, and then you realize that the person isn't stopping, and then the person isn't realizing that the person is his actions are hurting you.
Okay.
That is, yeah. Basically, those are the signs.
And since there are signs, some people are there, they decide to ignore the signs. But we have people that they decide to be naive, if I should say it that way. Decide to be naive, or they do not want to accept the reality of the situation, or maybe they assume that the person that's just the way the person is the character of the person. So they decide not to do anything. And these things begin to have effects on them. So this leads me to my question, where I ask, what are the effects of familiarity on a victim? Familiarity breeding contempt on a victim. What are some of the effects? Do you think, it has some effects? Are there traumas? Is there anything? Is there hate? If you have any idea, could you share it?
Okay, so I believe that once it crosses the line and there's contempt, and then the person doesn't speak up because the person probably doesn't see it, or the person is naive, or the person thinks that's how the other person is, or the person just doesn't want to ruin the relationship, then it spoils the whole essence of a relationship. Because they're always saying that in a relationship, not like as in a sexual relationship, but a platonic one or any other type of relationship with your friends or your siblings, there always has to be communication. So once you reach a point where it's like there is no communication, then the relationship is heading towards doom, because then you can't speak up because of the factors that you because of the factors that you listed. So then the effect is that obviously the relationship has ceased to be one that brings growth or development, because then one person is suffering in the relationship, the person is not happy. Because then if somebody is doing something to you and you just don't speak up because you probably don't want to hurt the person's feelings, or you don't want to spoil the relationship you have with the person, then it isn't right, because then you will suffer in silence. And then in the long run, that relationship will crumble because you can't hold on to it for long. There's a point in time that you come and you get tired. So you can't hold on for long in that relationship. And it also tends to become abusive, because then the person might verbally abuse you, and then you just let it slide because, as you said, you think that's how the person is. But then that is not how, if the person is like that, we can't blame the person. There are things that cause it. But then that is not how a healthy relationship should be. So then abuse comes in, then it comes to the person not having confidence in himself, because the person might say things that are offensive, or that might just hurt the person's self-esteem. So it really leads to a lot of things, honestly. But ultimately, it breaks down the relationship you have with the person. That's the ultimate effect of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just to summarize what you said it destroys the person's self-esteem, and ultimately it also destroys the relationship that the person has with the other party. Wow.
Exactly.
Again, just to add, do you also think it corrupts one person's standards, or more, I don't want to say one person's values or standards that the person holds to himself or herself, that makes him or her unique?
Yeah, I honestly believe so, because then it might not even just be about that person's own, that like it making the person unique. Then it just makes the person also settle for less, to the extent like, as in, you grew up believing this, and at the initial stages, this was happening with your friend or something. But initial, like as time goes on, things go a different way, but then you don't want to see anything about it. So then it changes your perspective on certain things, because then you think that, oh, other things are right. The person isn't abusive. The person, so this is where it all comes in, because then in your mind you start to believe that this is normal. And even though it goes against certain values that you may have, you start to believe that it is normal. And then you too start losing those values in yourself, because then you think that it's fine. So I honestly believe that it destroys your morals, and it makes you believe things which aren't right, or things which aren't true, because then you think that is all that there is to it. Or at a point in time in a relationship, this is bound to happen, so let me just go with the flow, or it is normal, but actually isn't normal.
Wow, I see. Thank you for your insightful contribution there. I'll I'll continue by asking my final question. Do you think there is any antidote or solution to familiarity breeding or bringing about?
Oh yeah, definitely. I believe that there is. So the first thing should be that there should be like respect. Respect is ultimate. There should be respect between the parties involved. Two, they should know their boundaries and the type of relationship that they have with each other. So when they are crossing that boundary, they know. And then three, also communication, because you never know what is going on in the other person's mind. So the person might think that, oh, this is fine, but then it's actually not fine. So it takes you, the person who is being offended, to speak up so the other person knows that, oh yes, this is happening. Yes, so I think these major things: respect, setting boundaries, and communication can help solve this situation.
Yeah, respect, setting boundaries, and communication.
Yeah.
I believe you've said it all. You've said it all. What do you have to say personally to people out there, those who think that familiarity cannot bring up content in any way, or those who are there? I don't know. Maybe for someone who is naive now, there is discussion. What do you think? What should be the takeaway message to them?
So the takeaway message to anybody listening, whether or not the person believes that familiarity can lead to contempt, is that there should always be some sort of respect in a relationship that you have with the person. And I believe that once you respect that person, it goes a long way to prevent any sort of contempt. It might come up along the way, but your respect will make you realize that it is wrong, and your respect for that person would make you want to resolve it. So I believe that respect is the ultimate. And there are so many things that you've said that I've also said, which all boil down to the fact that it is those closest to you that hate you the most. So it shouldn't be something that you should not expect, and it shouldn't be something that you are sitting patiently waiting for it to happen, because you believe that everybody will hate you. So then I won't have friends, or I'm patiently waiting for this friend to do this to me so that I disassociate myself from that person. It shouldn't make you think that we are all humans and we all make mistakes. So we should try as much as possible to just be genuine in our friendships, learn how to communicate, and then just set boundaries for yourself. Just set boundaries for yourself. Maybe when you were young, you were fine with the teasing, the bickering, the mocking, the body shaming. But as you grow, you learn new things, you become more emotionally mature, and then you believe that this shouldn't be the case. So then your friend shouldn't do this to you, your sister shouldn't do this to you. Just learn to speak up about it, and just learn to know that you have every right to not want to be treated in that way. And then once you do that, I believe that everything will be fine. And yes, so that's all I have to say.
Yes, you heard it all. Learn to speak up and everything will be fine. Okay, let's go. Okay. So you were telling me, I was asking you if there are any positive or negative sides of familiarity. If you think there are, you can state a few. Could you state a few?
Positives. I don't think I have any.
Really? Don't you think there are positive sides in knowing someone for a long time?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely there is obviously. In terms of building network, like social connections, in terms of developing as a person,
Yeah.
developing as a person, building strong relationships that will last you a lifetime, or knowing that you can rely on people when you're in hard times. And then I think yes, that's about it with familiarity, I think.
Yeah. If I may add a few, yesterday
Sure.
we also made mention of that one positive side of familiarity is we can be able to refute false accusations about an individual, about someone you know, because of that familiarity
Okay.
you have. Yes, also you can be able to render accounts or testimonials about people.
Yeah. But sorry to cut you. With regards to that, there is a saying. Okay, it's not really a saying, but it's like a code for friendships, or yeah, and it's basically saying that like you what's it called? You defend in public, but you rebuke in private. So basically just talking about like if you are friends with someone or if you know somebody and people are saying something bad about the person, it's definitely your responsibility to defend the person, regardless of whether it's true or not. But then behind the scenes, when you do meet up with the person, you like try and reprimand the person or so that's just what I wanted to add.
Yes. Thank you for adding that, which reminds me, with what you said, is it also okay to defend a person regardless of whether the person is present or not? Whether, sometimes there are false rumors about people we know that are circulating around. But you see, there's instances where people who know that particular person very well don't stand up or do anything about it. What do you have to say about that?
I honestly believe that it really depends on the situation. It really depends on the type of situation you are in, because there are instances that require you to come forward and defend the person. But then there are instances where when you come forward to defend the person, you end up putting the person in much more trouble than he was before, or in a much deeper situation than he was before. So you just have to relax and let the person sort it out themselves. But then it also has to do with you like talking to the person and asking the person, they are saying this about you, is it fine that I go for it to talk? Because then, as I'm saying, sometimes you go for it to talk and you end up being the one who receives all the backlash, or the person will not even appreciate what you have done because the person might have felt that wasn't needed. So you also definitely have to ask the person. But then if you're in a situation where you can't ask the person and you believe that is the right thing to be done, you definitely have to defend the person. But if the person is not right, like if it's a situation where it's a scandal, let's say the person has been accused of having sexually abusing someone, and you believe that you know that is not you might know that it's not true, but then you also believe that there might be some truth to it, so you're not 100% true about it, you definitely don't have to go defending the person, because you can't 100% vouch for the person. But if you can 100% vouch for the person, then I believe you should defend the person.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to summarize what you're saying you should kind of approach it with caution.
Yeah.
I see.
Basically. Yeah.
Okay, without familiarity, is it possible that there could be no contempt?
Oh no. I mean, oh yes, without familiarity, yes, because some people are outright disrespectful. Some people just don't value people. Some people are just rude towards people and treat people anyhow. So that one, it definitely exists. But then it is more painful or more hurtful when it is coming from somebody that you know or somebody that you are close to. That's what I believe. But if it is from an outside person, somebody who doesn't know you, there are lots of, we all have our days. There may be days where we are not in the mood and we may speak rudely to somebody or treat somebody anyhow. But then it hurts more when it's from your internal space, your internal circle. That's what I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. But then from it's really hard to take, like it's really hard to not show some sort of contempt towards somebody you know, because as I'm saying, you may do it unknowingly, and at the back of your mind is normal, or the person shouldn't take offense. Like it's not rare for somebody who knows you to treat you like that. If in any case, I believe that even happens more, because then you are much closer to the person, and they always say that it's the person closest to you who steps on your toe, or there's a saying like about that, like it's those closest to you that hurt you the most, because then they don't realize it and they think that it's normal or it's not any big deal. So if anything, familiarity contributes to contempt much more than unfamiliarity.
If I may add to it, I heard this saying from someone I know and admire. He said, who else in this world apart from the one close to you who will hurt you? It's not going to be a stranger.
Exactly.
Moving forward.
Exactly.
Moving forward. Okay, moving forward. Is when we say familiarity, we've talked about the positive side, the negative side. Now I'll now like go to the intention. Do people do it intentionally? Is it an intention? Is it deliberate? Is it, or maybe it's unintentional? It's not something that they deliberately did. What do you think? Is it something that comes naturally or out with time, or you think people sometimes intentionally do that? They normalize it, as you said. Oh, he's my friend anyway, so if I tease him a little there, it doesn't really bother because
Yeah.
he's my friend. I've known you for so long. It's not now that you are here, you are about to bring the boundaries here and things like that. I don't know if you get me, but
Yeah, I really get what you're saying.
could you comment?
And then okay. So I think that it's both intentional and unintentional. And honestly, I feel it's usually more intentional, because then, as you are saying, on a regular, we wouldn't tease somebody because we believe that, oh, it will hurt the person's feelings. It's not right. But then if it's your friend, you believe that, oh, we all tease each other. It's normal. Maybe but you body shame the person. We all do that. It's normal. But then that person might be hurting, but you wouldn't think about it because you believe that the person is your friend. The person understands that this is a joke that you do. This is what you do. But then you wouldn't do it to somebody else because you are afraid that they'll take offense at it. So then I believe that it's more intentional than it is unintentional. But then obviously there are a lot of circumstances where it's unintentional. As in, there's a small voice in the back of your head that knows that, oh, I can get away easy with this because the person is my friend, she is my sister, it's my cousin, it's my brother, it's my anything. So there are both sides to it. It's more, but I believe that it's more intentional than it is unintentional, because then we know we can get away with a lot of things because we are familiar with that person. So yeah, that's what I think.
Guys, please subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.